I call on the Minister for Public Services to reply to the debate.
Diolch, Llywydd. It's clear from the debate today that three parties here will vote against the legislative consent motion, and I'm grateful for that cross-party opposition, which we see paralleled also in the House of Lords, as there is collaboration between a number of parties and the opposition benches and indeed cross-benches in driving forward amendments to this bill, and I hope that those amendments will go further if the UK government doesn't bring forward the amendments that we are seeking. A number of contributions from the Leader of Plaid Cymru, from the Liberal Democrat spokesperson, have set out the arguments that we share against this bill, and a number of people have referred, for example, to the Wales TUC and the campaign it's been running and the legal advice that it has received. Yes?
Davis.
For taking an intervention at this stage. I've heard many arguments put forward today, many in passionate support of the trade union movement, and I respect absolutely every member's right to make those arguments. But would you share with me that perhaps those arguments are undermined by a failure to declare an interest on the part of some members here? And I think it's been a shame that because those interests were not declared up front, that it might be perceived slightly unfairly that perhaps they're not making their arguments in support of this LCM in the most open and transparent way.
Well, I was going to come on to the issue of trade union membership in a moment, and I will say a bit more about it. But when it comes to declarations of interest, I've never heard Conservative farmers in this chamber declaring interest on things, for example, like the agricultural wages bill. My colleagues declare the support they get from trades unions in the register, which is where they should declare it. And I am pleased to hear today the contributions that we've had from my colleagues, from Julie Morgan, from Joyce Watson, from Jeff Cuthbert, from John Griffiths.
Can we have some order, please? Carry on, Minister.
Presiding Officer, the Leader of the Opposition has just accused me of misleading the Chamber. I object to that.
I did not hear that.
Okay. Well, you're lucky. Can I move on to say that the opposition that's been outlined by my colleagues and by Bethan Jenkins is also welcome in this Chamber today. Reference was made by Julie Morgan to the position in Scotland, which is different from ours. They've not been able to table their equivalent of a legislative consent motion, but I can tell the Chamber today that the Scottish Parliament is today debating a report on the operation of the trade union bill, which accommodates many of the arguments that we ourselves have brought forward, and I've had a number of conversations latterly, the most recent being last Thursday, with the Scottish Government Minister who leads on this issue. We are seeking to see clauses 3, 12, 13 and 14 removed from the bill, or their application being disapplied to Wales and indeed to other devolved administrations who are affected. And certainly we will move very swiftly after the May election to introduce what I will for today's purposes call the Trade Union Disapplication Wales Bill, to remove those clauses, as the First Minister has made clear previously. I'm going to move to the remarks of the Leader of the Opposition, who made clear today his support for the bill, saying it was in the Conservative manifesto at the last election. Well, I didn't see the taking away of nurses' bursaries in the Conservative manifesto at the last election, but they've been able to U-turn on that. I didn't hear the Leader of the Opposition refer once to public services in Wales being devolved responsibility in his contribution. He didn't refer to the clauses which relate to public services, because he knows those clauses in this bill are wrong in principle and are a breach of the devolution settlement. He referred to Len McCluskey. Well, I will declare I am a member of Unite. I'm also a member of the National Union of Journalists. And I took great pleasure last year in showing Len McCluskey around the e-cycle factory in Williamstown, where this Welsh Labour government had saved Remploy jobs when the Conservatives and Liberal Democrats were closing those factories. And I will give the Leader of the Opposition some advice. He should take the advice of a Conservative MP, David Davis. That's not David T.C. Davis of Monmouth. It's David Davis without the E in his name, who referred in the debate on the Trade Union Bill to its Franco-style provisions. And he is a better defender of civil liberties than I think the Leader of the Opposition is here. And David Davis went on to say on the Trade Union Bill, this isn't Franco's Britain, it's Queen Elizabeth's Britain. Well, I think that the Leader of the Opposition perhaps could learn something from his colleagues. We will vote against this legislative consent motion today because we regard this bill as punitive, as vindictive, and as breaching the devolution settlement. I urge all colleagues in this chamber to vote against this legislative consent motion to send a very strong message to the UK government and a strong message to the House of Lords, which is currently debating the trade union bill, that we want those clauses taken out. We want them disapplied to Wales. We value the relationship we have with our trade union colleagues. We value the social partnership work we have here in Wales, and we oppose this bill.
I now move to a vote on the legislative consent motion of the UK Trade Union Bill, and I call for a vote on the motion which is tabled in the name of Leighton Andrews. Open the vote. Are we all done? Close the vote. In favour 13, no abstentions, 43 against. Therefore, the UK Trade Union Bill is not agreed.